Reigen's arc in Mob Psycho Season 2 hit me like a brick. Not that I didn't see it coming entirely, but I'm not sure if I expected to be repeatedly smacked so hard this season as I have been. People want to feel like they are special, like they are someone, like they contribute a value or have a purpose in the world. Reigen's arc really begins far before he met Mob, with the quitting of his job. That inner childhood desire to do something that mattered. He was living separate from his family, had no apparent serious love interest or friends, just working the typical soul-suppressing office job described so often in media. He had what would in some movies be the happy end of an arc, being spontaneous and finally quitting that job, moving into a new apartment, pursuing something crazy. But that's actually only the first step of his arc. He makes his own business, but not just a normal business. A type of entrepreneurial vision where Reigen isn't selling a product, but is the product. Where people ask for his help because of his own namesake and his own status, reputation as a person. Reigen is an obvious con man, but he does technically make people feel better for what they come for, when he can. He has a narcissistic tendency to look down on others and try to use them for his own gain, but never enough for it to be only entirely one-sided. Meeting Mob made a way for Reigen's hope. It showed him a way that he could actually see his business, his idea, going somewhere. He knew that he was lying to Mob. He still felt guilty that he could be clipping Mob's wings in social life, so he tried to imagine himself instead as taking Mob under his own. He tried to give advice to generally make Mob feel better and maybe understand or be less stressed about the world around him, and I think that there was sometimes a disconnect between the reality of the situation and of Reigen's perspective. So the show sets up an interesting dichotomy between Reigen deserving this embarrassment and shame he is getting for lying to so many people, while also driving home the good intention and heart that led him there. Nobody seems to believe in Reigen anymore. I'm sure the email from his mom urging him to stop or turn his life around was something that people can emotionally get behind, even if they hadn't faced the same situation. While Japanese culture focuses on shame more than Western countries like America, there is still a similarity in the mentality across those cultures to try and be grateful and not let your parents down, assuming, of course, that they did a good job raising you. Reigen knows what he is doing is not what his family wants. They want him to be happy, to succeed, to just come and visit, but Reigen is in his own search of something special, to make him proud of himself. But this has led him to feel like a failure, a con man who, in his eyes, is letting down his kind and worried family. He can't face them, turn back. Maybe that's his stubbornness, but I also like to think it's his own twisted, personal sense of justice. After losing Mob, embarrassing himself on TV, and being harassed and made the butt of a joke online, it's this sort of air that he kind of finally got what was coming to him. He was never wanting to do anything wrong, just to be special, to blaze his own path, to be someone, but the negative traits he does have rein in, and I think he feels that he needs to face those things honestly. So he holds the conference, and further starts to dig himself in by reacting as he has done before. He may feel beaten down, like everyone has abandoned him, but he still has his pride and some of his self-respect. And he still is, after being doxxed for several things like his grade school pictures and apartment location, somewhat of a victim. He basically went from top popularity to career suicide in the span of a couple days, and that must be an emotional shell shock. So, he has to think back on the things that were truly good, truly positive, and of course, that is Mob. After he goes through the process of thinking of Mob, how, in his words, Mob wanted to change but I caged him in, he feels like even if he is at the end of his rope, he needs to reconcile and do what he can to fix things with the only person who truly believed in his goals, his ideas, his vision, but mostly him as a person. So knowing he is on TV, he reaches out and speaks past the journalists and directly into the camera. Hey Mob, are you watching? You've grown up so much. You know that? It's a compelling choice of words that says a lot more than an "I'm sorry." It, for once, cuts past his own desires and puts Mob first. He wants Mob to know that he accepts his change, his independence, and his plea for being his own person. Something that Reigen himself was trying to do whenever he first met Mob all those years ago. It's the irony that he met Mob trying to escape from being held down by his old work, but ended up, at times, trying to contain Mob in pursuit of his own freedom. This is a sense of equality, of the two sides of the same coin, a sense of respect and understanding, more as peers than as master and student, and it's extremely heartwarming and a great development of the character. He doesn't expect, deserve, or place priority on his own forgiveness because this is where he has landed. It's the mature response. He has made his bed and has come to terms with the idea that he may have to lay in it. But in the very least, Mob doesn't. If he can't fly, he wants to know that Mob can, and it's okay for him to spread his wings. So, I think that that's sort of why Mob rescues him. Why Mob waits to meet up for him. Because Mob has understood all along the things that Reigen finds so hard to believe. Underneath all of the kind of sketchy actions. That he is, at his core, a good person. A selfish person, a manipulative person, a sometimes rude or lying person, but those traits are not him. Reigen finds what he has been looking for all along, to be someone. Not through fame or reputation, but through a person who truly, earnestly, honestly believes in him, and there couldn't be a thing to give greater value. The value another person puts in you. That's something that can make you truly special. So I think Reigen's art connects to so many people in the current day. We all spend our time and days on social media, cultivating images and personalities. For some people on YouTube, myself strongly included, when my friends dwindle and my family is far away, I work on videos. Like Reigen's business, he wanted to be the face of the product, to himself be the product people came for, in hopes that people put the value in him instead of what he provided. There are plenty of places to remove curses or fix your back, but Reigen wants people to come to him because it is him, that they believe in him specifically. I don't want people to filter and choose the videos they watch of mine based on topic or just binge through dozens of videos from random people like I do with other channels. I want them to come for me. I want to be the valuable thing people seek. So seeing the way Reigen obsesses with this very real driving factor for me, and fails, is a lesson I don't take lightly. For me, it's easy to see why Reigen is a fan favorite, especially now. I want to give a big thank you to WizBang2093, Akio, Rakamaru, Darren Antos, and all of my other patrons who increasingly make YouTube a possible future for me. A big thank you to you, of course, for making it to the end of this video. I hope that you all have a great week, and I'll see you next Friday.